Now think about it. A person who was so good at wrestling that no one can move his hand even an inch, let alone defeat him. The story begins with a man named Mark, who used to be an arm wrestler at one time, but due to some compulsion, he left this job and started working as a bouncer in an American nightclub. Now one day when Mark was doing his duty, then his old friend Kim came to meet him and started convincing him to do arm wrestling again. Mark initially refused to do it, but after Kim's repeated insistence, he was ready to play just one match. After this, he went to the other side of the bar, where an arm wrestling match was going on, and the rich people there were betting on different wrestlers. Now the wrestler who was supposed to face Mark, he was winning all the matches so far, and because of this, no one was ready to bet on Mark. Now the match started very soon, and here Mark started betting heavily on this wrestler. Now despite a lot of effort, this wrestler could not move Mark's hand an inch, while Mark finished this champion in a single blow. Now since Mark won this match, all the money had gone to Kim. But here this wrestler refused to give up and attacked Kim. Now to save his friend, Mark immediately came in the middle, and as soon as he saw, there was a commotion in the entire club. Now because of this, the owner of the club was very upset, and he fired Mark from his job. Now a week later, Mark got a new job, and he started working as a guard in a shopping mall. Now one day, Kim called Mark again and told him about an arm wrestling competition in Korea. Here Kim told Mark that the athlete who wins this competition will get a chance to play at the national level. Now Mark was thinking about this, because at some point in time, he also wanted to become an arm wrestling champion. Here Mark saw his medals, and to fulfill his dream, he left for Korea. Now when Mark reached Korea, Kim came to pick him up at the airport. After this, they both went to a restaurant, and while having lunch, they talked about work. Here Kim told Mark that I want to be your agent in this game, so that I can earn some money through you, and you can also fulfill your dream of becoming a champion. Actually, Kim's plan was to make a lot of money by betting heavily on Mark's ability. Now Mark was also ready for this, after which they both went to a nightclub to party. Now here Kim enjoyed a lot, but Mark started taking care of the whole nightclub like a bouncer. Now while going to the hotel, Kim asked Mark that have you tried to find your mother? Now here it is revealed that Mark's mother had left him in an orphanage as a child. Here Mark said that I have no interest in my past. Now when Mark reached his hotel, he got a gift from Kim, and when he opened the box, he found a phone inside which had his mother's location. On the other side, we see Kim, who came to meet a very rich gangster named Yo. Actually, Kim wanted this rich gangster to bet money on his friend. Now when Yo saw Mark's videos, he was very impressed with Mark, and was ready to bet money on him. But he had a condition that Mark would have to lose or win at his behest. Now the next day, Mark followed the map of that phone and reached his mother's address. But before he could go inside, he met two kids who thought he was a superhero. Then Mark got a call from Kim, and he went to meet him. Here these two kids came inside the house and told their mother Sujin that a man had come to their door. After hearing this, Sujin looked out of the window where she saw Mark going. Now before moving forward in this story, let's know a little about Sujin. Sujin is Mark's step-sister who runs a clothing shop in a mall in Korea. But at the moment, this shop was in a very bad condition. And to manage this loss, she borrowed a lot of money from Gangster Yo. Now one day when Sujin was at her shop, she saw Gangster Yo with Mark. Actually, Kim had invited Yo to watch an arm wrestling match. And in this match, his friend Mark was also going to fight. After this, all these people reached the club of the mall where the arm wrestling match was going on. Here Mark defeated all the players one by one, and seeing this, the people in the club started betting on Mark. Now there was also a man named Chong in this club who was actually the boss of Gangster Yo. Now when Chong saw Mark playing, he was very impressed with him. And happily, he got Mark and Kim a room to stay in a 5-star hotel. Now that night, Yo messaged Kim and told him that in tomorrow's match, Mark will have to win the first match and intentionally lose in the second match. Now Kim was a little scared to hear this because he was afraid that Mark would not agree for this. But when he told Mark this, Mark was ready to lose in his second match without any questions. Now the next day, Sujin sent the kids to school and started looking at her childhood photos in a box. And in these photos, her stepbrother Mark was also there. On the other hand, when the kids left the house to go to school, Mark came in front of them again. Now seeing Mark, these kids got a little scared, and Sujin's son even threatened him that if he comes to their house again, he will complain to the police about him. Now that evening, Mark went to the nightclub where he was supposed to have a match. Here, Gangster Yo also invited Korea's biggest arm wrestling champion, Combo, so that he could test Mark's talent. Now the match started very soon, and Mark's opponent was this 7 feet tall man. However, Mark easily defeated his opponent, and Combo was also very impressed. Now in this club, we also see Sujin, who brought her childhood photos with her so that she could tell Mark that she is his sister. Then Gangster Yo saw Sujin, and he went to her and started misbehaving with her because Sujin had not returned her money yet. Now seeing this, Mark got angry, and according to the plan, he deliberately won the second match that he was supposed to lose. Now doing this to Mark caused a lot of damage to Yo, and he started showing his anger on Mark. But instead of getting scared, Mark pushed Yo back and left. Now coming out of the club, Kim told Mark that he is our sponsor and we have to listen to him. Now inside the store, Yo and his goons surrounded Kim and beat him very badly. Now hearing this noise, Mark also came inside the store and met Yo's goons alone. But before he could beat up Yo, the police came to Sujin's store and took Kim and Mark to the police station. Now the police asked him for his passport to release Mark. But Mark did not have his passport because he lost his passport somewhere in the first match. Now to prove that Mark is a common wrestler, he fought with the police in Punjabi. But despite this, the police did not release him. Then Sujin went to the police station with her children because she got Mark's passport. Sujin also told the police that Mark is her brother and her mother is no more in this world. Now hearing this, Mark was heartbroken because he just wanted to meet his mother once. Now after getting out of jail, Mark was not able to understand how to thank Sujin. But before he could say anything, Sujin and her children called him to their house to stay with them. Now Mark also agreed for this and took all his belongings and went to Sujin's house. Now very soon, these two children became very close to Mark and spent a lot of time with him. And with the arrival of Mark, the whole house was filled with happiness. Now one day, some goons were smoking on the stairs of the house, and despite Sujin's refusal, they were not ready to move from there. But as soon as they saw Mark, they ran away from there. Now the next day, Mark decided that he would leave this house because he did not want to be a burden on Sujin. But as soon as he came out of the house, he saw two goons of Yo, who had come to collect money from Sujin. Now Mark drove these goons away, but he realized that Yo would not leave Sujin so easily. So he decided to stay there and take care of Sujin and her children. Now these days passed and these four started living like a happy family. When Sujin would go to her shop, Mark would clean the house and cook food for the children. But on the other hand, Kim's condition was very bad because all her money was over. Now when Kim saw Mark with the children, she got an idea that why not make a documentary on Mark's life and earn some money by showing his sad story. After this, Kim called one of her director friends and that director was also working on this project. Now the next day, Mark went out with his whole family, where on the way, he saw Korea's biggest arm wrestler, Combo, who was competing for arm wrestling for a charity. Now seeing this, Mark challenged Combo and defeated him and surprised everyone present there. Now in the next few weeks, Mark's documentary was released all over the country, in which his childhood story and all the struggles so far were shown. Now people liked this documentary a lot and as soon as they saw it, Mark became the hero of the whole of Korea. And through this documentary, Kim and Mark earned a lot of money. Now one day, when Mark went to drop the children to school, a small child made fun of Mark's heavy body. Now hearing this, Junie got very angry and told that boy that my uncle is a national champion and a documentary has been made on him. Now here Mark promised his niece that he will win the biggest competition in the country and will become a national champion. Now in the next scene, we see a man who was actually Kim's father and to survive, he had to work very hard at this age. And Kim wanted to earn so much money so that she could give a good life to her father. Now that evening, when Mark came home, his nephew showed him those letters that his mother used to write to him every day. But Mark did not get any letters until today because that email address was not Mark's. Actually, Mark's mother was very sorry that she left Mark in an orphanage. And in these letters, she told that when Mark was with her, his life was so difficult that he did not even have money to eat. And he had to leave Mark in an orphanage so that he could get a better life. Now through these letters, Mark also found out that Sujin is not his own but his stepsister. Now the next day, all these people reached Mark's mother's grave where Mark told Sujin a lot of bad things to lie, and he decided that he will go back to America and leave arm wrestling and live a normal life. Here, Kim tried to stop him because the national championship was about to start next week. On this, Mark said that let it be, you have only taken advantage of my talent from the first day and there is nothing more than money for you. On the other hand, we see gangster Yoku who had trained a player named Kane so that he could defeat Mark in the championship. Kane was a very dangerous arm wrestler who not only defeated his opponent but also mercilessly broke his hands. Until date, no one has been able to defeat this heavyweight animal. Here we see Mark who was training with all his heart because he had promised his niece that one day he will become a national champion. Now the day of the competition came very soon and Mark reached the place of the competition with Kim. At home, the children remembered that they forgot to return Mark's medal, so without wasting time, they caught a bus and reached the place of the competition. Now when Sujin found out that the children had gone to him to return Mark's medal, then she left all the work and came to the children. At the same time, the competition started on the other side where Mark, Kane and Combo were performing in different weight classes. These three easily defeated all the people in their group and reached the semifinal round of the championship. Now Kane played the semifinal and broke his opponent's hand and reached the final. Now Yoku's boss Chong has invested all his money on Kane, but he was afraid to lose his money because of Mark's performance. Now during the break, Yoku went to meet Kim and gave him $2 lakh and said that Mark will have to lose to Combo in the semifinal. Now forced by habit, Kim accepted this offer and left with the bag of money. After this, he told Mark the whole thing, but Mark refused to do so because the promise he made to his niece was more important for him. Now in the semifinal, Mark competed with Combo and defeated him and reached the final. Now seeing this, Yoku was quite upset, and during the break, he praised Kim a lot, but then Mark came and saved Kim from these goons. Now after all this, Kim left the greed for money and motivated Mark to win the final. Now very soon, the final round started, which was watched live by millions of Koreans on their TVs. Now as soon as the match started, Kane cheated on Mark and tried to hurt him by pressing his thumb hard. Now due to the injury of this thumb, Mark began to weaken in this match and Kane could have defeated him at any moment. But then Mark saw his niece cheering for him with hopeful eyes. Then suddenly Mark remembered the promise he made to his niece, and as soon as he thought about it, he got a different power within him, and in a single blow, he finished Kane's work. Now seeing this, the whole stadium jumped with joy and the kids hugged Mark. Now finally he said on TV that he loves his mother a lot, and because of her, he has got a new family. Now after hearing these words of Mark, everyone started crying and they started clapping for Mark. And with this great movie ended here. I hope you liked today's story. If you liked this video, then like it and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment and tell me which part of this story you liked the most. See you in the next video, but until then, be safe and keep chilling.